Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll move.
All right,
To approve them.
Matt moved, Lynn, you'll second. All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
I sent out the Cove Road decision. Case number 2187. We don't need to, I think we decided we don't need to formally approve them. But I sent it out for your review. If you have any questions or comments or suggested changes to that decision. Matt or Lynn, you're not? Okay, then I'll release that tomorrow, be filed. And we already resolved the issue about the paper. So we've done all our administrative things. And now we're waiting for our fourth member to join us for the request to withdraw without prejudice. The case number, well, whatever the case number is here, but it's the application of Thomas and Teresa Healy over on Aries Pond Road.
It is. Yeah, it is case number 2177, Jerry.
All right, thanks, Lynn.
So Peggy, if you can let her in from the, thank you.
Oh, great, Emily. Hi, Emily. Can you hear us?
Hello. Hello. Thank you for being patient.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know it came at some inconvenience, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Right.
My pleasure.
We have finished all the administrative matters. I'd now
Okay.
like to call for the board's consideration. Oh, yeah, we need a vote. Emily, under new business, under case 2177, the application of Thomas and Teresa Healy, they have applied to the board to withdraw their application without prejudice. So I'd have a motion to allow that.
Yes.
So moved.
All right, Matt.
Okay,
And
second,
Lynn, second, okay. Any opposed? All in favor? Okay,
Aye.
no one's opposed, all in favor. All
Okay.
right. Now I'd like to call the case number 2189, the application of Michael Carson and Sean Smith. Is Attorney Kanaga out there waiting for it to come in, or anyone representing the Mr.
isn't this one to be continued, Jerry?
No.
Yes,
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
we continued it already, but I accidentally put it back on the agenda and Mr. Kanega contacted me and told me that it was already moved to approve. So that was only on there still because I posted the agenda.
Okay, sorry. All right, I missed that. Yeah, it's down there. All right. So that's continued. Well, now we're left with the one case, and sadly, David, we don't have a quorum.
Well, I probably shouldn't understand that you have a difficulty with this, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, if I could be given the opportunity to continue it, to wait for 5 members. If we don't have 4 in favor, could I move forward in that manner?
That's agreeable to me. Lynn and Emily, is that agreeable to you?
Yes.
All right, Lynn, agreeable to you? Hi,
Yes,
Matt, you're excused, Matt. If you can, welcome to stay. I'm one who believes you're welcome to listen if you want to and stay.
I was recusing on the prior, Jerry. I'm good on this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's 2180, yeah,
Oh, man, I'm
89.
sorry. David, I take it all back. You have a.
No, I knew where we were.
Oh, okay. I'm confused. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry. That's my my error. I thought you were this one. You were confused. Oh, so you have a quorum of 4. You're right. Exactly. We will proceed. And as we have in the past, and we've agreed to this in our rules and practice, we've had an administrative discussion previously, David, that we've decided that will be our policy. So if you can make your presentation, and if it looks as though we won't call for a vote, but you'll be able to ascertain where people are based on their questions and observations. And then you can withdraw until we have a quorum for 5. That's agreeable.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to call it to,
Yeah, I'd like to call, yeah, gotta do something right tonight. Call case 2190, the application of Brian Tinmouth and Brett Dewey for a special permit in accordance with section 163C1B and 16421C and 16443. Mr. Little, please.
thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, David Little representing Phil and Britt Dewey. They purchased this house 2 years ago. I represented them before the Conservation Commission earlier this year and obtained approvals for the proposed project. They've committed to a significant land management plan to improve the site conditions, which include removal of asphalt driveway and parking areas and things like that. The dwelling is located on the because of the flood zone location. If you have the site plan available,
Yeah.
the flood zone comes all the way around and intersects the dwelling where the garage is located at the north end of the building. So the dwelling itself is located at or on the top of a coastal bank. It has a 0 setback to the top of a coastal bank.
Right.
The applicants are proposing to replace the pool and do things on the property and have obtained approval for all of that. But they'd like to make some changes to the existing dwelling, which include providing dormers for more headroom upstairs and more living space, and providing a screen porch on the second floor, which is shown on the south part of the building, which actually expands the footprint. So what's important to point out here is that the dwelling is getting no closer to the top of the coastal bank. The setbacks are remaining the same. Where they'd like to construct a screen porch on the second floor is in an area that's further set back from the top of the coastal bank. It's not in violation of anything. So what's happening is I don't know if the commissioners have the opportunity to pull up the plans that we provided, but the plan A2.2, which shows the elevations of the dwelling.
Yeah.
Could I ask people to pull that out of their packets?
I've got it.
Or if not, I'll explain it if you're not available. So the ridge of the dwelling remains exactly the same. We're not increasing the height. All we're doing is proposing to create dormers on the water side to provide more living space on the second floor. And then at the east end of that section on A2.2, you can see where they'd like to create a second story screen porch above an existing deck. So it's important to note that this screen porch is not increasing the non-conforming nature of the structure. The non-conforming nature of the structure remains the same. So I represented.
Let me ask you a question, David. Looking at that A2.2,
Yes.
So there's a first floor, looks like a doorway out onto a screen porch. And that exists now?
The slider exists.
Yeah,
There is a patio there now. We're
Yeah.
proposing a new deck and above it, we are proposing a second floor screen porch. So we're
Okay,
not,
so-
and this is an area that is not intensifying any nonconformity, where this requires a special permit because we're expanding volume and footprint within jurisdiction. So I think that lower left-hand section really shows you what's happening. The first floor all remains the same. The second floor gets 2 new dormers and a screen porch. So from that perspective, we believe that this is a reasonable proposal to bring before the board. I've represented people in the past, I mean, many years ago, that had houses that we were unable to raise the ridge on because of their proximity to the coastal bank.
Yeah.
But we're not even trying to do this here. We're maintaining what exists. So that being said, I'd like to address the special permit criteria, and I'll open myself up for questions. Is that
No,
okay,
let's,
Mr. Chairman?
before you get there, let's make sure I understand here again. Going back to that 8.22, looking at the lower right-hand picture, okay, on that page.
Yes.
So the screen porch is new. So the roof line is being, right now you see the lower roof that ends where the screen porch begins.
Yes.
Is that the roof line that exists now?
No, it's a new roof line, but we're not extending the roof line higher than the main ridge is.
No, but you're extending it further toward the water, basically. It would come down. It basically is. If you look at where the door
Yes,
goes out
we
there.
are, Mr. Chairman.
Pardon me?
And I think it's important to keep in mind that portion of the expansion toward the top of the coastal bank is further away than the existing dwelling is. We're not creating a new nonconformity with respect to the setback to the top of the coastal bank. That's set back almost, the 50-foot buffer goes through it. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how else I can explain that. But what's important to note is that the main ridge of the dwelling does not get higher. We're creating some dormers to provide a little more space.
The
And we're
dormers don't need
providing-
our approval. The dormers don't need our approval, do they?
Excuse me, sir?
The dormers don't need our approval, do they?
Yes, we're expanding volume and creating new floor area within the setback to the top of the coastal bank. Everything we're doing needs relief, but we're not intensifying any nonconformity. We're maintaining the current non-conforming nature of the structure, which is 0 square feet to the top of the, I mean, 0 feet to the top of the coastal bank.
Okay. All right, go, yeah, all right. I misunderstood what was being done here. I thought that whole extension was being added, but
Well, if I could direct you to the site plan, Mr. Chairman.
yeah,
So if you'll notice that the top of the coastal bank, which is a line that has triangular items on it that go around the site plan, it goes in front of the pool, goes around the house, and then it actually comes up and touches the drive-in garage. We are not getting any closer to the bank than the house presently exists. We are getting closer in the southerly portion of the dwelling where we'd like to do the screen porch. Other than that, we're proposing dormers to provide additional space on the second floor. The applicants purchased this and really fell in love with it. It's this this is not a tear down and and a rebuild. It's a reconstruction of an existing dwelling. It's a reconstruction of an existing pool. They're trying to work with existing features, which I applaud them for. A lot of people don't do that these days. I'm going to move into the special permit criteria and then entertain questions from the board members, if I may.
Very good.
So it's a 2.9 acre site, which is certainly adequate for the proposed renovations. The site is suitable for the proposed renovations. The continued residential use of the property in a residential district is appropriate. There will be no new impact on traffic flow or safety within the neighborhood. The proposed project will have no negative impact on the visual character in the neighborhood. The dwelling is only visible from the water through a small window through the vegetation and trees on the site. The property is served by a Title V sewage disposal system, a potable water well, and the applicants are improving stormwater drainage on the site significantly. They're removing asphalt, they're creating gravel driveway, they're intercepting stormwater before it comes to Pleasant Bay. As to the adequacy of utilities and public services, they will not be changed or impacted. There would be no noise or litter associated with the project other than temporary noise during construction. And the project had a couple of meetings. I think there were 3 hearings with the Conservation Commission to improve the site characteristics, which included the land management plan from Wilkinson Ecological Design. So that being said, all I can say is that we're not intensifying any nonconformities. What we are doing is we are working within the footprint and expanding the dwelling, which within jurisdiction, which does require a special permit. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions. Thank you.
Okay, just so I'm clear, and I think I am now. Looking to the A2.2. Right now, there's a deck with those 2 doors walking out. That exists.
Yes, sir.
What's changing is they're going to add pillars and screen that in. And then they're going to build a deck. Those windows we could see in that picture behind the railing, those already exist, those 3 windows, they already exist?
I don't know if they already exist, Mr. Chairman. All I can say is that
But that wall.
all the
exists.
windows in the house are probably going to be replaced.
Yeah, but I mean, that wall they're in exists.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so the roof line will be changed to extend to the end of the porch. And that's a change, right? Just
That is absolutely correct, but we're purposely not changing. We're not expanding the roof line above the existing ridge.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
To make sure that we don't create a new nonconformity here.
All right, good, I got it now. I had a misperception of what was happening here. All right, other questions, Matt or Lynn or Emily?
Nobody else wants to jump in, I can, just a couple.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
The first floor sunroom, is that existing condition space now?
Yes, it is.
So we have no existing plan, so I'm trying to track changes here. And then the upstairs screen porch, is that condition space right now?
No, that is new. As the chairman just mentioned, the wall behind it exists, but no, we're
Right.
proposing, and it shows on our site plan, Matt. If you look at the site plan, we show a proposed deck with screen porch above. Right now, that's a patio. So we're proposing to have a deck where the patio is, and then the screen porch above that has the X through it that shows additional footprint.
Right, the dimensions of that just don't seem very functional. I guess I worry that it's not going to prove to be useful, and that they'll come back and want even more volume. The last comment, I understand the ridge heights and that the main highest ridge is not changing, but there are new roof areas below that elevation. Nonetheless, there's a new cupola extending above the existing ridge, if I'm reading this correctly, and I don't think that cupola should be there.
If that's a condition that the zoning board feels strongly about, I'm not going to argue with that.
My question, in the time that I've been on the board, this hasn't come up. The new screened-in porch does not meet the requirement of setback from the top of Coastal Bank, right? I understand it's not intensifying the already non-compliance, but it doesn't meet that requirement, right?
Well, in fact, Ms. Eicholt, I think it might. So if 1.5 times 30 feet is 45 feet, and I suspect that that proposed screen porch might be 45 feet away from the top of the coastal bank. The problem is it's connected to an existing dwelling, which is non-conforming.
No, I get that. I get that. I do understand that. It's just I've never seen the circumstance where we're adding something that could be, you're not sure, it's 45 feet away, that could be also non-compliant, not as non-compliant, but also that's what I was asking. It's just
Well,
a situation I've not encountered before.
I think what's important here is that the dwelling, the deck that's attached to the dwelling, any part of the dwelling, the closest part of the dwelling establishes the closest point to the top of the coastal bank. And Mr. Evers is on this. I would defer to him to confirm that. So from the special permit criteria, I scale the, if you take a scale to this plan, that proposed screen porch is 44.5 feet from the top of the coastal bank. So if we were coming here just basing things on their setback, it's within a half a foot of complying. But that's not our point. Our point is that we have an existing dwelling that's non-conforming, and the owners actually love the dwelling. They want to reuse the existing materials, reuse the house. It's not a tear down and a rebuild like boards see that come before them. I think this is a good application. We're not increasing any nonconformity. And you're allowed to, with the Gale decision, you're allowed to increase nonconformities. And I understand the chair's concern about that because of past experiences. So I don't know how to couch this any differently. Thank you.
Could I ask a question about the plan, the plot plan, David? All these lines have me confused. I see, if you go to the middle of the page of the plot plan, there's a line that I would say in Morse code, I would say is a dash, dot, dot, dash, dot, dot. And there's an arrow to it right in the middle of the plot plan saying 50 feet from flood zone / top of coastal bank. And then that proceeds, if you follow that down, it goes right into the middle of the house and then takes a hard curve down. Is that the coastal bank? There's another line saying that the coastal bank is this line that has tooth marks on it. in the front of the house, and that seems to go off.
No, that's 50 feet from the top of the coastal bank.
Okay,
The top of the coastal bank is the line that goes along and has triangles on it. And
Yeah.
it goes in front of the pool,
all right. yeah,
around the
okay.
pool,
All
up
right.
against the
And what is it?
garage, goes across the property. This is a very unique property. It was developed a long time ago before we had all these regulations to deal with. And some people would applaud the applicants for making a reuse of an existing dwelling and adding dormers and trying to improve the site rather than doing a tear down and a rebuild. I don't know. I would prefer to specifically address the criteria for a special permit.
I would too, but I just don't understand then, if that line with the pyramids, the triangles is the coastal bank, it seems to be moving away from this proposed work area.
If you go from the southerly property line, the coastal bank goes north and around the proposed pool, goes around the north side of the proposed pool, and it actually touches the drive under. Then it goes away from the building
Yeah.
on the north side of the driveway, and then it comes back inside to the property. If for the members of the board that had the opportunity to go to the site, there's a long paved drive that goes through a very low area and then rises back up to the dwelling. The middle portion of this entire property is within the flood zone.
All right, okay, I got it. I got it.
So wouldn't this substantial of a project require that the house be raised vertically, thereby raising the ridge?
No, so what they're doing, Matt, is everything within the basement is becoming FEMA compliant. They're providing flood vents. They're eliminating all of the mechanicals. So they'll be located above elevation 13.0. So the building itself is getting flood vents and is becoming FEMA compliant. There will be no habitable space in the basement. It's just storage.
Okay. So the answer to my first question, which is how do we ever justify this for anybody else coming forward, is that it already is, it's a grandfathered, it's really sort of a grandfathered grandfather exception to that condition, and it's not really being, it's being intensified in the sense that we're adding a screen porches, but it's sort of a negligible intensification really. And the dormers, I guess, are dormers. I guess it's again, it's an insignificant intensification.
Well, I defer to Mr. Evers on this, but so we are increasing volume within the setback. We're not increasing the nonconformity. 164.21C, the coastal setback requirement, was adopted probably 25 years after this house was built. And that's why we have a special permit criteria that allows people to work on their houses in situations like this.
Other questions or comments?
All other permitting through all other boards is 100% complete. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Now,
Is
did
there
the
a sep-
Conservation Commission even discuss this sort of, I know their concerns are different.
I think we might have had 3 or 4 meetings, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. I attended one of yours where they gave you a hard time. They're looking for, this isn't the house where they're looking for the view and the polka dot view where
I don't often appear before the Conservation Commission when I don't have a hard time.
Yeah, well, they give you a very hard time on one house. I don't think this.
I think that's why I'm cutting my hours back and retiring soon.
I understand.
Yeah, they
Okay,
they wouldn't permit tear down and replacement of this house in this location.
What's that, Matt?
It's being renovated in part because they wouldn't allow it to be torn down and rebuilt.
So what's I guess I'll start off since I raised my concerns. The bulk of my concerns that I expressed before we had the hearing was based on misinformation, my misunderstanding rather, not misinformation, my misunderstanding of what was being proposed. Now that I understand it, I'm a little more sympathetic. I'm more sympathetic to it, frankly. But what are the other thoughts of the members? Lynn or Matt, Emily, any concerns?
I don't think I do. I will just say this, though, it was impossible to decipher the plans that were sent to us. I'll just say that. I couldn't decipher them because the way they were done with little lines that said this is existing and this will be not, it was, I've not had any trouble on other plans. I had no idea what they were adding new versus not until tonight. So, but understanding it.
Next time that happens, you can come see me.
Okay. Yeah, no, it was very hard. Usually the plans don't come in this form and they're easier to tell what exists and what's being added than this one. So,
Well, this is a pretty
Okay.
confusing piece of land. I'll grant
yeah,
that.
so, but I don't have any other questions or concerns.
The poor guys who had to do this, it's a pretty confusing piece of property with all these lines. I understand that. But I also had a different impression of what was being added. I thought that entire block was being added, the not just the porches to it. Matt and Emily, any questions? I'll move to approve.
Yeah, again, I'd like to see the condition of the cupola not being there because it does change the height of the structure. But I leave that to the rest of you to weigh in on.
I think cupolas just add, my own prejudice on cupolas, it just add more targets for wind damage. But that's just my own prejudice. I don't.
I'm fine. I would vote to approve. I'm fine with the condition. That's fine.
All right, so Matt, are you moving to approve with the condition that they remove the cupola?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Yeah, okay.
Need a second.
Yep. I'll second that.
All right, so we get Matt and all right. Any other comments or questions on the motion? All right, I guess I don't feel strongly about the cupola, but if Matt does and Lynn does, I'm happy to go along with that. It may save them the next hurricane or high wind anyway. So I'll call the roll. We have a motion and a second. Lynn,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
and I'm yes also. All right, very good. And again, I apologize, David, if I increase the heat of this discussion through my own misunderstanding.
No, not at all. And I apologize if the plans were a little confusing. I kind of work with what I'm provided by the various professionals that I work with, and I will make an effort to improve that with my next application.
Well, this was much, the substance was much less than I thought what you were asking for, frankly, was my misunderstanding. So,
Thank you very much.
very good, thank you. Emily, while you were gone, we voted to, we decided to change the paper that we use for our notice purposes to, good night, Tom, thank you. From the Cape Codder to the Cape Cod Chronicle.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, good. Well, that's it. Anything else to come before the board? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move. Thanks for everybody getting on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for getting on. Emily, thank you for getting on. It looks like you had to go to some extreme to get on.
I'm sitting in my colleague's car.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's
You're
That's
welcome.
over.
It's important, so I'm glad I
it
could
was
make it.
important, and it's over and above the call of duty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
night.
Have a good night,
I'll see you
everyone.
all in 2 weeks.
Bye.